I'm Seamus. Thank you so much for coming.
You've got a great cause worth fighting for. I couldn't wait to get here. That said, I expected, well, more people?
So far, there's only the two of us.
But we're highly motivated.
Well, it's a start.
Some people I knew already were dear friends of mine, like little gray cells, and just my stupid opinion.
Lots of interesting things. This is absolutely abominable, and the RCMP are really in the shit here, and they know it.
Hi, I'm not really sure what I'm doing here, but I think it's time that I needed to speak up.
The following program is brought to you in living color.
Something you watch on TV, horror movie, you shut it off a good bit. We can't shut this off. Every time we close our eyes, the horror movie turns on. So I know for myself, when I close my eyes, go try to go to bed, picture my parents being shot.
I'm trying to piece together a story that seems so unbelievable.
Let's have a look at this. I'm going to pause it periodically, and I'm going to try and not lose my shit because I was really angry. Really angry. I'm getting really pissed now. I'll preface this by saying I'm strongly urging all of the victims in this, the victims' families, to launch a class action lawsuit against the RCMP. And I would just love to have the RCMP under discovery. I have a lot of questions, and I'm sure a lawyer would too.
Mounted police and their stories. Stories of their courage. Stories of their lives filled with hazard, romance, and adventure. The RCMP story this week, Gunslinger.
Oh my goodness, how many windows do I have open? Okay, evening, 10:40. Had to do this right away, I guess, because I didn't want anybody going to bed. Somebody down in the United States got upset because I was broadcasting in Texas. Welcome, Texas. Because I was broadcasting in the middle of the day. I don't know. I can't make anybody happy, can I? I got to do... Oh, no. Look at this. I don't even have cigarettes. What am I going to do? You know what I'm going to do while I'm getting cigarettes? I'm going to play you a story, a video from Global, and I want you to watch it carefully. Watch it carefully. It's really interesting because there's something in it. Oops, what am I doing here? I should download that right away too. This was one of the stories I was going to talk about. So then that way I can go and grab smokes. And I want you to watch the story carefully at the 2-minute, 26-second mark. Listen to the story, what it has to do with 2-minute, 26-second mark. Watch carefully, please.
We're getting a rare glimpse tonight into the shadowy world of police informants. One such paid informant says he regrets ever joining a police witness protection program, and he is suing the RCMP and the federal government as a result. Ross Lord reports.
For this longtime police informant, the simple act of breathing feels like a luxury.
I'm still alive. That's always a good thing.
His birth name is Paul Derry. He's a career criminal who testified against the Hells Angels for a murder in Nova Scotia, helping send this man and 3 others to prison. Derry has had 3 name changes since entering the RCMP's witness protection program 20 years ago. He's suing the RCMP and the federal government, claiming they failed to prepare him and his family for living in witness protection.
I'd like the program to change. I don't ever want to see a family have to go through what my family's had to go through, especially children.
The lawsuit claims at no time did the RCMP advise Paul Derry or his family of potential mental health risks of being an RCMP informant. It alleges his current wife has had a mental breakdown, that his mother passed away without anyone at RCMP telling him she was even sick, and that one of his daughters thought her father was dead for 6 months as a teenager before they entered witness protection, and that RCMP did not tell her he was still alive.
She has not left her house for more than a few hours a month for 6 years. She's petrified.
Fear from the fact he's still under threat from the Hells Angels. He says his children sleep in a separate part of their house for their own safety.
They know that if anything ever happens, that the door gets kicked in or they hear noise, to go to their mother and get as far away from me as they can.
He and other family members have received psychological and addictions counseling. In a statement of defense filed with the Federal Court of Canada, the Attorney General blames Derry's problems on his own conduct and says it denies any breach of contract and further denies breaching any duty of care the RCMP may have owed to the plaintiffs. The defense statement accuses Derry of failing to acquire legitimate occupational skills and failing to cooperate with members of the RCMP. In a statement to Global News, the RCMP said it's made significant enhancements to witness protection over the last 5 years, and that the program has also invested in additional staff. Police officers familiar with witness protection say the program's reputation is important because they need it to reassure people it's okay to testify against violent criminals.
Witness protection is one tool that we can use to try and alleviate that with the witness, his hesitation or fear, really.
Derry says he agrees.
The last thing I want to see happen is informants to stop working. I just want them to work under better conditions and with more knowledge as to what they're getting into.
Considering how his life has turned out, he says he might have been better off keeping his mouth shut and going to prison along with the men he implicated. At least then, he says, his sentence would soon be over. Ross Lord, Global News, Halifax.
Oh no, tax season is right.
No, whatever you're trying to sell, I'm not interested. Never interested in your garbage. Interesting. Just wanted to point that out. Not sure what they're trying to do or say there, but interesting story. An interesting background that they chose. Interesting car. Call me tinfoil. Something there. Now, let's get on to something else. I'm trying to still locate an article that was there yesterday and suddenly has gone poof. Oh, maybe I have it. I know where it is. Let's get to what. When was this on Global? You like the hat? Thanks. When was that on Global? Let's see. I will tell you. It was on Global April 7th. Yesterday. A couple articles. Link those, copy. We can go through those if you'd like. Here's one. Here's two. And here's the link to the video if you want to go and download it. It's always a good idea too. There we go. Here's the link to this article. Copy. Paste. Uh-oh. That's huge. Is that going to go through? I hope that link works. Now, let's archive it. Sorry, Nick Cole. Oh, and I didn't say my hellos. My apology. Nick Cole. Hello, Beth, Glenn, Steve. You want to jump on, Steve? Don't know where you're at. I was going to ask you something about stuff in your personal stuff because I know you had a meeting. Snippy, Beth, Nikki, Linda, Glenn, Altamont, 1. Hello. I don't know if I remember seeing you. I feel terrible saying this, but my ears hear the music way more than you're saying. Sorry, I'm missing out on something vital. You're not. I'm probably just saying something. So never fear. Down by the bay. Hello again. D2C. All right. Let's see. Sunday. Did I get an email from you Sunday? I think I did. I'm behind on my emails. I'm very sorry to everybody. Mark Evans. Trish Lunn. Hello, Trish. And we have Darlene Sinclair and Countryside. So tired. Just laying in bed with the kiddos. Watching tonight, but I'll call you later. Oh no, I'm going to pass out, dude. I already had my nap for today, but probably going to have go to sleep. Well, I don't know. Actually, I've got a little jolt, but if you do call and I'm asleep, my apologies. Now, I've got a video somewhere here. I probably have to root around for it, but RCMP told Nova Scotia officials it wanted emergency alert 5 minutes before gunman was killed. What? Sorry? Told? What? Uh-oh. Thank you, Elizabeth, for bringing this. Elizabeth McMillan, CBC. Documents show emergency management office staff were ready for hours to send alert. Not a surprise. However, I haven't read the article yet, so we'll go through it together and dissect it. A memorial pays, Memorial, which of course they just wiped them out right away. Rather foul. RCMP notified Nova Scotia government that it wanted to send out an emergency alert only 5 minutes before police shot man responsible for killing 23 people in the province last April, new records show. One day they're going to get it. Just quit it! CBC News obtained documents through an access to information request that shed light on Nova Scotia Emergency Management Office internal communications on April 19, 2020, as well as contact officials had with the RCMP regarding the possibility of I don't know what that's about. Okay. regarding the possibility of sending out an alert to warn the public. The records show that 3 hours before the RCMP stopped their suspect at 11:26 a.m. Atlantic time with the show and tell that we all had down at the big stop, provincial officials were discussing the possibility of the force requesting an alert. But despite efforts to call the RCMP several times around 10:35, the only response the province received was that someone would be in touch to discuss, as we have tea and crumpets. In those 51 minutes, 3 other people were killed before the word came in that the suspect was in custody. Questionable, but anyway. In Nova Scotia, at least at the ending part there, I mean, whatever. In Nova Scotia, the agency in charge of given situation must decide an alert needs to be issued and then send a request and message text to the Emergency Management Office, EMO. On the evening of Saturday, April 18, 51-year-old denturist injured 2 people and killed 13 neighbors. Tiny area. I don't, this is a bit of a misnomer, but anyway. Of Portapique, Nova Scotia, he escaped after torching 2 homes of his victims, his cottage and his garage. The following morning, he killed 9 more people. It's actually out under number there, but anyway, including several strangers he encountered while driving a decommissioned police vehicle, which we discussed this afternoon, outfitted to look like an identical, all but identical, to an RCMP cruiser. Really? Hey, Todd. In all, the shooter was traveled nearly 200 kilometers through several rural communities before police shot and killed him at a gas station in Enfield, Nova Scotia. New records show provincial employees first learned of a problem in Portapique at 10:39 on April 18th, about 15 minutes after RCMP officers first arrived on the scene. So, what time did they get the phone call, which the fire department never responded to? Because I think they were ordered not to, right? When was it? What was the first phone call? Oh, yeah, that was at 9. Don't know what's going on down there. Staff at the province's dispatch center in Shubenacadie received a call about 2 structure fires, quote, that could not be fought because of high-risk situation, according to a timeline released through the Freedom of Information. Ah, right. Better let those burn. Nobody asks questions when there's no fire department at the scene of a burning home. Right. Maybe there's something I'm saying. The fire information was passed on in the event that the Department of Lands and Forestry needed to get involved if it spread to the woods. The timeline released to CBC does not include transcripts of the calls themselves. Of course. Provincial staff were instructed to fill out the spreadsheet on April 20th, but it's not clear if all calls were noted or if the times listed were verified. Spreadsheet timeline shows that around 6 a.m., April 19th, Staff Sergeant Steve Halliday was in contact with Andrew Mitten, an EMO duty officer, about the possibility of needing assistance with evacuating residents from Portapique. Halliday also requested the use of Lands and Forestry helicopter. Okay, so 6 a.m. RCMP in touch with EMO. Oops. The first recorded mention of an alert came at 8:19 when Paul Mason, the EMO's executive director, asked Jason Mew, the director of the office's incident management division, bureaucracy, to bring in extra staff to the provincial coordination center, which is the hub of the emergency decision making in Nova Scotia during situations like natural disasters, already being used for, we'll skip past that, EMO on purely precautionary standby. At 8:36, Mew advised Mason, don't want to have any more Mockingbird, Mew advised Mason that the staff were ready to issue an alert, quote, at the request of the RCMP. 8:36. Now, are you ready? And about an hour later, an EMO business analyst emailed support desk at Palmerex, a company that operates Alert Ready System. Quote, there has been no request from the RCMP as of yet, and our standby is purely precautionary. Please treat our readiness to send an alert as confidential information, wrote Aaron McEachran. But it appears that there was no contact with the Mounties until 10:35, when, at Mason's urging, Dominic Fewer, an EMO planning officer, started calling the RCMP's Division Emergency Operations Center. Fewer tried 3 times and didn't get through, but did receive a text. Noticing a pattern? Can't talk to anybody over here. No. No, we'll get back to you when we feel like it. That Glenn Mason of the RCMP would be in touch with the coordination center as, quote, they would have to have a discussion on the alert ready message. Here we go with the balls. Discuss that this afternoon some more. By that point, RCMP had named their suspect and tweeted that he was in what appeared to be a marked vehicle. I think he was just in a marked vehicle, is what it was. A little bit of problem. Oops. How do we deal with this one? This is a disaster. That Sunday morning, it also sent out 5 tweets about the gunman's possible locations, which were all very conflicting and all over the place. After it became apparent he was on the move, emergency management officials had also been in touch with one of their colleagues who had been inside the Onslow Belmont Fire Hall, where police had mistakenly opened fire. Oops, sorry about that. Why are you choosing this word here? Please? Further explanation on all this is necessary, but I don't know. Where's the updates now in the CBC Fifth Estate video? Where are they at now? Marked vehicle, or I don't know, unknown. Who knows? They rebroadcast it. I believe they rebroadcast again the other night, to which they violated what they said they were going to do, which was voice it over. Next time they played it, didn't do that. Oops. They lied about that one too. Fewer asked his colleagues to get in touch with Glenn Mason of the RCMP at 11:12, and Michael Bennett, listed as being the incident commander at the provincial center, called 2 minutes later, quote, advising, we were prepared to use the alert ready. Well, that's good of you. 11:21, Glenn Mason called, quote, indicating it would be used, and asked Bennett to reach out to Inspector Dustin, I don't know, Rodier, after Bennett failed to get through to Rodier twice. Oh, gosh. Did anybody want to ever talk here? Anybody ever want to talk? No. Might as well go to the, you know what? You could have them essentially doing the, those COVID updates, you know? Because that's about as effective communication as they have. I'm not hearing anything from them. He spoke with Mason again 11:31 and learned the shooter was in custody. Remember this one? What was it, 11:40 they tweeted, in custody? Oh yeah, oops, he died, 11:26. Oops. Immediate questions. As news of the tragedy spread that Sunday, people immediately began questioning why the Mounties chose to release information on Twitter, tweety twatter, and did not send out an alert that would have gone to people's phones. Many of the people pointed out that the internet service is spotty in central and northern Nova Scotia, and Twitter use is not in widespread. Well, that's totally true. Let me see if I can dig up that. I like that one thing. I don't know. Somebody sent me something there, I think. Oops, I don't want to close that window. I never want to close any of my windows, you know. Where is that? Oh, unfortunate. Let's go up here. Up. I don't know why my audio is not working on my... Oh, there we go.
And as it relates to the use of the alert system versus Twitter, perhaps my friend from communications can speak to that. I believe there was an Amber Alert that went out at some point.
No, we just used the Twitter and Facebook just because it was unfolding. And
right.
We were in contact with the province about it, but it just never, we operated an assessment.
Neither of those people knew what they were talking about. The Amber Alert went out, according to number 2 in Nova Scotia. Right. It didn't. And the person who was assisting the media, what do they call them? Relations person, I forget her name. She got the boot rather rapidly. They used the Faceberg as well. But no, they didn't. Nuttiness. Immediate questions. As the news of the tragedy spread that Sunday, people immediately began to question why the Mounties chose to release information on Twitter and did not send out an alert that would have gone to people's phones. Many people pointed out that the use, spotty, I read that. Family members of some of the 9 people that were killed Sunday morning have since stated that their loved ones could have been saved had they known the active shooter was in their communities. That's absolutely 100% true. Complicit? Complicity. They caused the death, murder of individuals because of their actions. The records obtained through the Freedom of Information show provincial staff began receiving questions from news organizations and messages from public, including from a woman in Wentworth who questioned why people weren't being informed through alert. Thank you to that woman. When? By midday afternoon, April 19th, records show staff were discussing how to respond to questions. What? Proposed answers sent to Chuck Porter, the minister responsible for the EMO, to review. What? Were redacted. Good job. How's it going, oh dear? Everybody go and check out oh dear's channel, please. Dropping all kinds of great videos over there. Glad you could join us. Wade, how's it happening? Premier said province needed wording. What? On April 21st, 2020, the Nova Scotia Premier Stephen McNeil said the province had staff ready to send out the alert. Oh yes, this was at the whatever conference. The updates of the Mockingbird garbage. But didn't receive a request from the RCMP. Quote, we are the lead agency and the RCMP has asked for that, has to ask for that alert. I remember that. To go out because, quite frankly, we need that information from them. What is it that they want in that alert to notify citizens? We're in the process of preparing the alert when the gunman was shot and killed by the RCMP. So any of these people, do you think they're going to just sit in their hands? If any of these people were involved, do you think they would have been dead? No. You know the answer to that. The answer is no. They would have got evacuated. Probably the useless plebes, which to them are useless plebes, to us, our fellow man, would have just been left there. Since the mass killing, a number of emergency alerts have been sent out in Nova Scotia in January. Porter said he was willing to discuss granting police direct access to issue public alerts, as is done in New Brunswick. However, Porter cautioned that does not guarantee speedier action in notifying the public about the unfolding situation. And of course, this all references the stupid alerts about Canadian Tire and airsoft guns and construction sites, which then maliciously and evilly turned around and said, oh, this is why we don't use it, because when we do, then you get scared. Listen, you fucking people terrified the hell out of people. Of course they're scared. That's what Leather said. I know I have the clip on my somewhere in my computer, but you know, funnily enough, it takes me forever to find anything. So I'm going to go to Oh Dear's channel and find it, because I know that it's over there. Where's that? There was a little bit. Oh, you got the exchange of gunfire. Thank you. Great. I missed that one. This quote, I think, went on further, and it was horrendous. He's just like, oh, you know, this is why we don't use it. It's your damn fault, you people, why we don't use the alert. What was this July 4th? Was it the July 4th press conference? I can't remember exactly.
The use of the alert system versus Twitter, perhaps my friend from communications can speak to that. I believe there was an Amber Alert that went out at some point.
No, we just used the Twitter and Facebook just because it was unfolding. And
right.
We were in contact with the province.
We had relied on Twitter, as my colleague said, because of its the instantaneous manner that we can communicate. We're aware there's a superior way to communicate this ongoing threat.
Why did the Twitter account announce that the suspect was in custody when he had been killed?
So in terms of that description, I could see how, for instance, passersby may have considered Mr. Wortman to be in custody. But again, we're moving into a CERT investigational area. I think that question would be better posed to them. Thank you.
What to? Redacted. Is going on. The media does not bother questioning the nonsense answer. When they know RCMP are lying.
Oh, they got him, but they shot him. I heard the 4 shots.
14 minutes after he was killed by RCMP. You tweet he is in custody. If you really thought it was a passerby that said that, how would it be a CERT issue? Do passerbys have access to post on your Twitter account? RCMP start coming clean before it's too late.
Shoot, that wasn't the one I was looking for, but that obviously is great. Points out stuff. Where's the one I'm looking for here? There it is. RCMP is the devil. Devil's in the details. Is that it? Devil's in the details? It was at this one, the July 4th press conference. I believe it was this one. Let me just check.
Police incident, we learned of the unintended consequences. Following the alert, there were a large number of people who called 911.
Okay, I want you to listen to this. This is evil and it's malicious. And those of you that remember the that day with they were saying that there were all these shootings happening, to which there were not. Turned out there was a big fat zero, and that was what, 1 week after, I believe. I could go through my articles and find it again. Is that right? July 4th? Yeah. Which was the last time that the RCMP has ever publicly communicated, of course, because they want to keep in everybody up to speed on what's going on and keep them informed. Our employees not talking to us, they're doing, they could go and work on those conferences, those kind of news conferences in the corner. Evil, malicious this was. Evil.
On April 24th, I made the decision to activate Alert Ready in a separate incident where credible information was received of shots fired involving an automatic gun moving towards a densely populated area within the Halifax region. As a result of activating the alert for a dynamic police incident, we learned of the unintended consequences. Following the alert.
Listen carefully. How he blames people. So this is in under a week after worst mass murder in Canadian history. He's going to blame people for why they didn't use the Twitter. It's your fault. This is why we didn't do it. Absolutely, utterly fucking disgusting.
Alert, there were a large number of people who called 911 to ask non-emergency related questions, such as, should I pick up my children? Where should I hide? What do I do?
You know, and she succinctly put it together. Great. I mean, this is the same kind of stuff we've been piping here forever, right? What the fuck are you guys doing? I think, somewhere in some video project, I have something similar to that. But it's succinct, and that's the point. Like, you purposely did something, construction sounds, normal sounds, and then suddenly turned that into, oh yeah, we heard guns, by the way. Just like the fake police cars. Do you get what's going on here? This is what they do. And funnily enough, I think that this whole mumbo jumbo, there may be something to this one. Where's that? Brought to you by Global. Of course. Who does that? What does this have to do with? Of course, it's the timing, right? This is in everybody's mind. And this car, everybody always had questions about this car. Look at how it's just posed and everything. I don't want to get too far off track. I want to stay with and then New Brunswick turned around and was like, yeah, we're going to give you the contract. Let's see, did I get that, what I was looking for here? Right. I could not find this. Oh, shoot. I don't know if this is going to answer. Okay. Okay, that's another piece of research. So we'll just take that out and minimize that. Not for now. Everything has a time and a place. We will do this one here too. In reference to the Halifax story I read this afternoon, I think this is always something interesting to note. We discussed that, and a person who's extraordinarily helpful with this pointed that back out to me. Thank you. And said, oh, did you remember who was in charge of Halifax down there? And I do. Whatever. They want to play games with this. Janice Gray. They all come from the same place. Janice Gray. Anybody know Janice Gray? I think I've discussed this before. This all references Lower Mainland. Of course, we're Campbell. Galliford. All kinds of good things happen over there, too. Janice Gray, who helped tank Galliford. So she couldn't testify against the RCMP. And I know I have to be, these officers have an extraordinarily difficult time, the ones that try and speak out. And I have so much support for them and love for them, because they really are heroes, true heroes. Janice Gray intentionally tanked Galliford. Campbell gets appointed out to Nova Scotia in charge of drugs and waterways. Janice Gray also comes out, kind of looks like maybe, just maybe, that was kind of a quid pro quo. because she used her official account. Didn't get spanked for it, to take down Galliford, call her out, not call her out, but take her down and maliciously malign her using her official account. Janice Gray, like Campbell, got a promotion and came your direction from the Lower Mainland. Interesting to note. Now there are, let's see here. There was one other thing I wanted to discuss. Because I think maybe, just maybe, man convicted of decades-old Hants County double murder to have an appeal heard in December. Leslie Greenwood is led to Supreme Court, Kentville 2018, during his trial on 2 charges of first-degree murder in the deaths of Barry Merzerow, Nancy Christensen. He's filing his appeal, or he's appealing his conviction before Nova Scotia Nova Scotia Court of Appeal in December. Leslie Douglas Greenwood is going to have at least one more day in court in connection with the death of 2 people in Hants County more than 2 decades ago. Greenwood has a hearing before the Nova Scotia Court of Appeal in December, where he is fighting his 2018 conviction on 2 counts of first-degree murder. He was previously convicted of the charges in 2012, but those charges were overturned on an appeal in 2014, new trial ordered. Greenwood initially filed 4 pages of handwritten submissions when he appealed in 2018, but an amended document was filed with the court last week by his new lawyer, Ian Smith of Toronto. Lists 7 specific grounds of appeal. They include allegations the trial judge erred in his charge to the jury on the issue of party liability for first-degree murder, that he erred in dismissing a defense motion claiming abuse of process in relation to Greenwood's statement to an undercover officer, that Greenwood's statement to police should not be officially admitted because it was improperly derived from abusive police conduct, and that the judge erred in failing to review evidence that would counter suggestions Greenwood was part of a conspiracy. The appeal also alleges that the judge erred by cautioning the jury about the evidence favorable to Greenwood provided by a witness, that he erred in allowing the Crown to use transcripts of former chief medical examiner evidence from the first trial at the second, and dismissed a defense application to introduce doctor's preliminary inquiry in response. The chief medical officer was suffering from dementia at the time the second trial got underway and could not testify. What? Oh my, I hope we don't have the same problem down there with the autopsies this go around. What? That's your chief medical officer at the time? Had dementia? Right. The appeal also suggests, can I ask a favor, sorry, of, oh dear, could you possibly send me the photo of Campbell down at, or the photos that you have of Campbell down at Enfield, please. That would be helpful. Just want to display them so that those people who are involved with this story know that I know. Anyway, by the time the second trial got underway, he could not testify. The appeal also says that the judge erred in dismissing a defense request to adjourn an application to argue that the trial was not held with reasonable time. Smith said the appeal that if successful, his client on trial, or if not, an order to a new trial confined to an issue. Thank you. Whether, thank you ever so much. So helpful. Whether the trial occurred within a reasonable time or failing those, the convictions of first-degree murder would be quashed, that the conviction for second-degree murder would be substantiated, and that the matter be sent for sentencing. Now, I understand you're probably sitting here thinking to yourself, why is this important? I want you to sow these seeds in your mind. Some of you may or may not understand where I'm going with this. First-degree murder carries an automatic minimum 25 years in jail before somebody can apply for parole, while conviction for second-degree murder requires a judge sets the minimum between 10 and 25 years for hearing submissions by the Crown and defense. Greenwood is serving a life sentence with chance no parole for 25 years for his conviction in the Kentville Supreme Court jury, February 2nd, 2018, shooting deaths of Barry Merzero and Nancy Christensen. Greenwood was arrested in 2010. The jury deliberated only for 3 hours before coming to his decision in 2018 trial. Greenwood said that when he was leaving court, he was shocked at the short deliberations after 13 days of testimony, and said that he would appeal. Merzero and Christensen were found dead September 10th, 2000. This is an old story. Co-accused Michael Lawrence testified that he owed $28,000 debt to Curtis Lyons. He sold drugs for, and that Lyons told him that he should settle that by killing a couple. And I'm just reading news, right? Lawrence testified that he didn't know the couple and that Lyons brought Greenwood because he didn't know them and he could go to the house without a problem. Greenwood did not testify, but the court did hear from him an audio recording made to an undercover police officers in 2010. Greenwood said in the recording that he knew nothing about the plan to kill the couple and that he was only at the house to pick up cigarettes and marijuana. He said that after coming outside with those items, Lawrence went inside and he heard several shots. Part of the delay to the trials was Greenwood was being tried in a Quebec court for murder charges after another double killing. The Montreal Gazette reported December 11, 2017, that Greenwood was convicted 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of conspiracy to commit murder. He was accused of being the driver of a getaway car for 2 men who shot 2 other men in a parking lot in Notre Dame Grasse in 2010. It's also the second trial of that case, the first in 2015. He was declared mistrial after the jury could not reach a unanimous verdict. So note the names, please. Let's see if we got that here. I do a lot of breadcrumb stuff. That's me. That's just the way I am. Here we have Campbell. Remember Baldy? Anyway, just leave that out there for them, right? Maybe they'll understand. Now, let's go to this one? Where is it? Takeout cowboy. The baby in the next room. I'm not finding the one I'm looking for. Not finding the one I'm looking for. Oh, that seems to have disappeared. Maybe this is it. Maybe the real article has gone poof. Somewhere I have the link. Doubts raised. Healthy skepticism is being raised over the reported suicide of Hell's Angel Jeff Lyons in Quebec jail cell. A defense lawyer says, I think there's healthy skepticism whether or not he's really dead, seeing how we've had cancer rumors in the past, which turned out to be false. Truro lawyer Al Bejan said. Seeing names you heard before? Al Bejan said on Monday regarding the reported death last Friday of Lyons, 42, North River. Quote, I don't know what they would or wouldn't do, he said, regarding whether officials would deliberately mislead the public about Lyons' death. Quote, I don't know what steps they would go to protect someone who is obviously upset. A lot of people, a lot of people would not be happy with what Mr. Lyons has allegedly said, Bejan said. I do not know what they would or would not do. We all know what has happened in the past. It's happened in the past, he said, regarding people who have been placed into witness protection programs. Thinking of Frank Dorrington. But who knows what they would or wouldn't do? He's involved, or allegedly involved, in a lot of missing people. Montreal Gazette reported weekend the police source with the Surrette de Quebec had informed them Jeff Lyons, 42, of North River, had killed himself. Montreal area jail cell on Friday afternoon. Lyons, a member of the Hells Angels Nomads chapter in Ontario, had also been facing 2 counts of first-degree murder in the death of a hitman and a bystander outside a McDonald's restaurant in Montreal area in January 2009. Where was that here? Where did my article go? The article that I was just reading. Montreal. He was taken by police to Quebec to answer to the charges of being arrested in Truro, May 2010. Lyons was also connected to several murder cases in Nova Scotia, including Hells Angel Randy Merzero. Merzero had been missing for 10 years. The body discovered in December 2010 after an intense search of a heavily wooded area near lands owned by members of his family. Now, I'm not saying anything. I'm just reporting the news. That's all. Maybe there's something here. Maybe not. His nephew, Curtis Lyons, is facing charges relating to helping dispose of Merzero's body, also that of Merzero's brother, Barry Kirk Merzero, man's common law wife, Nancy Christensen. Bejan's client, Les Greenwood, you seeing something here? Is also facing charges. You guys know who Al Bejan is, right? Bejan's client, Les Greenwood, is also facing charges related to the deaths of Kirk Merzero and Christensen. According to media reports attributed to Quebec police, an autopsy lines are scheduled for Monday. Never heard anything about that. Chris Hansen of Nova Scotia Public Prosecution Office said that she could not go into detail about the issue because of the ongoing nature of the file, of course. Other than to say that officials do not think that Lyons' death will affect the outcome. We are very limited, obviously, in what we can say, but I can tell you that the moment the prosecutors who are responsible for that case are assessing the development. But they, quote, by all accounts, Jeff Lyons is not the type of person who would kill himself, Al Bejan said. I don't expect it to have an impact on the viability of the prosecution, Hansen said. So they must be confident. Bejan said Lyons' death would also not likely have any impact on his client's case. But given the overall circumstances, authorities will have a tough time convincing the general public Lyons has committed suicide without providing clear-cut evidence. This is very interesting for a lawyer to say these kinds of things. Who is now, of course, the judge? Who is, of course, the judge who sat initially on the warrant redactions? Bejan did, but suddenly removed. You following me? Quote, if he's dead, there's certainly going to be a lot of reassessing by both the Crown and defense on several matters. Not necessarily mine, but I would think a lot of other cases that are out there, depending on how much Mr. Lyons did or did not have to say on them. Bejan said, adding, the only way he would be convinced, this is important, the only way he would be convinced of the information of the death is if the information came through confirmation from family members who actually get to view Lyons' body. A lawyer saying this. This is really going on the edge. Quote, if we hear he's cremated, then I think there'll be a conspiracy theorist that will go on forever, Bejan said. By all accounts, Jeff Lyons is not the type of person who would kill himself, but certainly there's a healthy dose of skepticism, same as we've had in the past, looking into false allegations of Jeff dying of cancer. He said a past rumor subsequently discounted by Lyons' family. Interesting. Witness protection. One moment. See if I can find a book. Uh-oh. I'm going to need my reading glasses. Also going to need one more article. I wonder which one I should do first. Let's see here. Greenwood maintained innocence during police interview. Greenwood maintained his innocence during a police interview following his arrest. First-degree charges, death of Barry Mersrow, Nancy Christensen. Jurors at Greenwood's retrial Thursday saw the video recording of the interview from December 9th, 2010. Greenwood at one point said he didn't know Michael Lawrence and who has since pleaded guilty to the case, and who has testified for the Crown. Want to keep going with this one? We can. Who was conducting an interview dismissed that? Corporal Fraser Firth. Do I know that name? Conducting the interview dismissed that. We're way past that now, he said. Using a fishing analogy, Firth told Greenwood, "You're not on the hook, you're in the boat." Greenwood insisted that he was only at Mersrow Christensen's house September 9th, 2000, picking up drugs and cigarettes, the direction of Jeff Lyons. He said he didn't know the details, supposedly what would happen. Chit-chatting away, Now, at one point, a different officer who Greenwood had asked for because he knew him took over the interview. "I've known you for 10 years and never pegged you for what you're going through today," Constable Daryl Morgan said. We'll just leave that there for now. Now I'm going to bring out something else. Well, because I need my glasses, Nancy, to read books, you know? Not totally illiterate over here. Let's see if we hear another name we recognize. These pieces I sew throughout the videos as we go along, slowly, because I want people to pick up what I'm laying down, and maybe other people come clean about what they may know without me having to say too much. Now, I'm still doing it. Get into something else here. Danny Kane. Anybody know Danny Kane? I've discussed Danny Kane before. I've read this. If I am being repetitive, I apologize. But it's important to keep these things in mind. Smaller font, yes. Eyes, you know, over the years, they've deteriorated smart looking. I don't know about that. I don't know. But for Danny Kane, should we look up Danny Kane for those of you who aren't familiar? Danny Kane, quickly. Danny Kane was a Canadian criminal who was a compliant police informant at the same time. Kane worked for the RCMP as an informant inside the Hells Angels for many years and provided information to police on the Hells Angels. Kane was also secretly bisexual. Uncommon law, which was uncommon. Motorcycle club. It was ace. And was also found dead of apparent suicide in the garage of his Montreal home in the summer of 2000. Danny Kane. But for Danny Kane, it wasn't. His trial was held in a specially converted schoolhouse surrounded by a maze of concrete barriers designed to stop car bombers from ramming the building. Plainclothes RCMP officers patrolled the perimeter. Clearly, Halifax regarded Kane as a dangerous defendant and a top security risk. Kane was asked, I want you to note this. Kane asked for a trial. Where was Kane born? Born in Quebec, but he was Anglophone. Kane asked for a trial in French. So Nova Scotia Supreme Court assigned to the case to a Montreal-born, French-speaking judge named who? Recognize that name? Felix Cachillon. Streetwise lawyer, Cachillon had made his mark as a defender of civil rights and a harsh critic of illegal police tactics. In the mid-1980s, he helped defend Donald Marshall Jr. Lobster stuff. For his client became a household name synonymous with wrongfully convicted. One of the few non-Tories and non-Liberals to get a federal judgeship in Nova Scotia, Cachillon, resplendent, with long hair and thick beard. Hard-nosed umpire who could be relied on to make sure that the rules of the game were enforced. Kane's trial did not get started until October 1998, more than a year and a half after he had been arrested. In that time, he had lost weight, muscle structure, because he was no longer taking steroids. He let his hair grow, his beard grow. Crown Prosecutor Pierre Lapointe suspected Kane was trying to change his appearance so witnesses might have a hard time identifying him. Do you see Danny Kane in the courtroom? Gee, not really, Your Honor, unless he's hiding behind that beard. But it didn't really matter because the debacle that was to follow had nothing to do with Kane's appearance in the courtroom. Nor would his former lover, Simard, that's Ace Simard, he had pleaded guilty to a reduced charge of second-degree murder with parole eligibility after 12 years. Simard could be back on the street by the time he was 43 years old. Not bad for 3 murders. 2 attempted murders, drug trafficking. Simard even asked the government to pay for liposuction. The government declined. In return, the somewhat corpulent biker agreed to testify against bikers in Quebec and Danny Kane in Halifax. As it turned out, however, no jury would believe him, discredited by past crimes, which included wearing false beards or bearing false witness. Simard was such a terrible delateur that not a single biker has gone to prison based on his testimony. Cachillon would later state that Simard, quote, displayed a cold-blooded remorselessness and manipulative personality while testifying. Cachillon quickly lived up to his reputation for toughness when he ruled inadmissible. Who ruled? Cachillon ruled inadmissible RCMP computer records showing that Blinn had pulled over a white Buick and checked out Danny Kane. Cachillon claimed that Blinn had no cause to stop Kane and therefore had violated constitutional rights. Evidence arising from the incident was therefore illegal. This included Blynn's CPIC search of Kane, which in of itself was the single most objective piece of evidence that confirmed Simard's story. That left the photo lineup evidence, the only solid thread that tied Kane to the shooting. Tom Townsend, one of the RCMP investigators on the McFarland murder, and Constable Mark McPherson, an expert on photo lineups, traveled to, I don't even want to say that name, Oromocto, butchered, on May 6, 1997, to question Constable Blynn and his partner Dale Hutley about the day 9 weeks earlier when they had stopped two males in a white Buick LeSabre. Townsend, 19-year member RCMP veteran, wanted to see if Blynn and Hutley could identify Kane and Simard, confirming Simard's story that he was with Kane. A simple enough task, but crucial enough to the prosecution. Simard had confessed to the murder. All police had to do was confirm Kane was with Simard, and according to source C2994, was without doubt going to prison for life. So Cacchione tosses Blynn. Who's Blynn? Constable Blynn. Let's see here. At that time. Giles Blynn. Anybody know Giles Blynn? Well, let's touch on one other thing first. Simard. What happened to Simard? Ace Simard. Amy Simard was a Canadian contract killer who worked for the Hells Angels, Hells Angels Puppet Club, the Rockers. Rockers operated out of Montreal, Quebec. Simard had requested transfer to Prince Albert Institution in Saskatchewan only a few months prior to his death, 2003. He thought it would be safer from the Hells Angels associates in Saskatchewan than British Columbia. Simard reported that he felt like a 100-man in prison. On July 18th, Amy Simard was found in his cell suffering 187 puncture wounds. The attacker sharpened metal rod thin in order to be used as a weapon. After his death, Simard was scheduled to testify in another gang-related member, against another gang member. There was a blood trail that investigators to the cell, which Simard belonged to Alvin Starblanket. An inmate told authorities that he'd be present and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, interesting. I'm leaving pieces out there. I'm not connecting all of them. People wouldn't do that for themselves. No, Giles Blynn Giles Blynn. Giles Blynn has spoken out against the RCMP before. His evidence gets tossed out. Tired Mountie backs ex-colleagues' analysis in the Soon's wrongful conviction case. I looked at what he did. I could see the worksheets, and I thought it was pretty sound. least 2 RCMP analysts concluded that Glenn Assoon didn't kill Brenda Way, since documents related to Assoon's wrongful murder conviction were released July 12th. The role of retired member RCMP Constable Dave Moore has been reported. It was Moore using RCMP's violent crime analysis linkage tool, or VICLAS, who first identified serial killer Michael McRae as the more likely suspect. Moore's information was not passed on to the Assoon defense team, was returned 2-week vacation. Moore had transferred out of the VICLAS unit, and his files were destroyed. Fellow retired Mountie Giles Blinn, who supported some of Moore's conclusions, finds that extremely unusual. Only people with certain rights can delete worksheets, Blinn said Thursday. It could only be a supervisor or someone else working on the file. Okay. Does it end there? Do you think? Nova Scotia Mounties facing big morale challenges in year marked by trauma. Criticism. Union says RCMP decision not to comment further on Nova Scotia mass shooting difficult for frontline officers. Let's skip ahead. Giles Blinn, who retired from the RCMP in New Brunswick 2018, said he's frequently in touch with former colleagues in Nova Scotia who are struggling with criticism of their actions during the mass shooting and who are frustrated that they can't defend themselves. Quote, they're far removed from all decisions that are being made at headquarters in Halifax and headquarters in Ottawa. They have no say on what's going on. It's like they're all gagged, Blinn said. They feel like they're not supported at the top. And any manager knows this, that if your people aren't happy under you, you have bad morale. I think the morale is very low in Nova Scotia currently due to the fact that no one is speaking out on their behalf. Well, frankly, I am. And we all should. I know you guys support great members of the RCMP and don't like trash. Blinn spent 31 years with the RCMP, including 8 on the staff organization that preceded the union. For many years, the former staff sergeant, originally from Digby County, answered media calls. He'd like to see the RCMP provide more information that could clear up questions about how officers responded to one of the country's worst killings in modern history. Well, frankly, it was. 23 worst mass murder in Canadian history. Not one of. You don't want to hamper your investigation. You don't want to hamper your upcoming coroner's inquest or anything else that's going on. You have very diplomatic into what you're going to say. There are things that I believe that they could say to satisfy all parties involved, he said. I'm just going to go one step further and add a little part to that. How about the truth? That would satisfy everybody. Blaine's son was one of the officers who responded in Portapique on April 18th. Though he stressed he couldn't speak to his son's experience and didn't know exactly what happened that night or the following morning. So I'll give you some more connections. Now, I believe the RCMP possibly may know what I know. You can do the right thing. Still, it's your choice. White shirts and your bosses. It all links. And the tentacles go much further. I don't know if you guys are following what I'm saying. I hope so. Destruction of evidence. Remember anything about that? Wow. There's so many interesting components to this. Yeah, actually, maybe we should play that.
He would be friendly with anybody. Like, he wasn't, that touches on, I know, and again, I know how police can be. I saw it this day out front. When you give a guy 22 years old all kinds of stuff on his belt, and he's got a bulletproof vest, and he's got this uniform, and then you give him a carbine, man, he's invincible. That's his mental attitude. And a lot of them are like that. It's kind of like they are, I don't know, it's the same as when people are in their car and they drive by and give you the finger. If you get them out of the car, they wouldn't give you a finger.
No, I apologize for jumping all over the map here. But how are you going to get your son's body home?
I know it. Lisa's still alive. She's his common-law wife, is what I understand.
You don't have a contact number for Lisa, do you?
No.
No.
And I'm not going to call Lisa.
No, Jesus Christ, no.
My intention was simple, is to go, I'll say probably next Monday, and say, I'll call this guy in Halifax who's supposed to be doing something for me, and say, can you, in time, give me at least the name of the funeral home that's going to be taking care of his remains, and then I'll go down. I won't go to his funeral. I'm just going to see his. It would be friendly with anybody.
Okay, let's find one other file. May take me a moment.
But passionate and sad and all this stuff, but it wasn't flying. As a matter of fact, I said that to this Alex. I said, she's trying to do something. She's not saying I'm sorry, but she's just looking sad and talking sad. And I thought, you know what? This is just aggravating it worse. Years old and her life experiences,
Sorry, I'm going to have to skip through to find
it. Maybe she's a volunteer. I don't think she had any back. Maybe 10 minutes earlier. Evan never had left. But and then so we.
You came back about 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
I'd say probably not AG or anxiety. I just sensed that this is coming to a close here. So anyway, we were sitting in the car, and the three of them came out. I never told you that. Did I tell you I've had 2 heart attacks?
No.
Well,
shoot. I wish I had it queued up. I don't. What Paul Wortman, who I found very interesting that he talked to CBC right away. We never heard anything about that. Right away, he talked to CBC. Never heard anything from Paul Wortman. Not sure what that's all about. Not sure what's going on with Paul Wortman. Not sure what's going on with the thefts. Somehow all of this stuff all ties together. And his disappearance, I think he's currently on the lam. Unknown, because he didn't show up for his court case. The one that he had 4 lawyers for the $50 razors or whatever the hell it was from Costco. He literally did ask to see his son's body, and they told him no. And he said it. He said it in this interview. No, you can't see his body. Then an interesting incident happened. Not sure if it's related. Fire rips through Dartmouth Crematorium. There was significant damage to the roof, and the building crews were on scene for a couple of hours. April 27th. (2020). Crematorium on Victoria Road in Dartmouth caught fire Sunday night, burning a hole through the roof of the building, according to Halifax Regional Fire and Emergency. Around 9 p.m., fire crews were called to Dartmouth Crematorium Limited. Blaze was starting to consume the building. It was a significant fire for sure. When I left last night, fire investigators were there, and it was all still under investigation. There was significant damage to the roof of the building. Crews were on scene for a couple of hours. Amos Robia, the acting district chief of Halifax Police, There's no one injured in the fire. It's not clear what caused the blaze. This is the second time firefighters have been called to the crematorium. There was a small fire property back in June 2016. Is it related? Is it related? Is it related to gas station stops? 3 of them? Really? Maybe they could have used Google Maps a little bit better. Figured out where they were supposed to go. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe they just thought he was going to gas stations in a car because they knew that he was going to gas stations because he ran out of gas in a car that he wasn't supposed to be driving, that they would have no knowledge that he was driving. I was watching that video. Oh, by the way, just for, let's see here, where is it? Global. I don't particularly like that photo. There seems to be some people missing. I'm dropping hints. Now, I want you to also look at another piece of information here. Where's that? Oh, no. This is going to take me forever to try and find. Where did I put that? Oh. No. Bear with me, please. Ah. Is this it? No, this is not the one I did. Shit. I can do it with this one too. It'll just take me a little bit of time. I thought I had it in here, though. Ah, here we go. Went back, I rewatched this tape a little closer. You remember this one? Hey, bye. More poses we didn't have before. Didn't have that one. Here comes another couple. I could just mute that. I apologize. I learned some things when I watched this tape a little closer. I learned what type of vehicle the people were driving. Dodge Ram truck. I learned that they probably went to the Tim Hortons, which was open. They have a police undercover vehicle in the background there. Quite a few police down here. We have a reporter who's doing some photography in the Mazda. I like the eye shot. That was rather interesting. Got that a couple of times. There's the Tims. Anything you observe would be great, as always. So I want you to notice something here. Where is it? Right there. He's only there for a second. He has a shoulder holster on. Uniform members, I don't believe, wear shoulder holsters. And his face is blurred out, as is the license plate on the vehicle. So I'll let you watch it without me messing with it. There's a reporter, by the way, photographing. The different stuff we had going on. But where is this fellow? Oh, if I skip by it? Shit. He runs to the back of the vehicle. The trouble obviously is in front of him. Watch his face.
Holy fucking guns everywhere. Just he's in the park. Not with the cop.
Could just be camera stuff. I don't know.
I know, bro. I gotta turn around.
Wow.
There is another officer that comes into frame who's rather interesting looking too.
This was no joke. Let's go. They're letting the dogs out. Oh, bro, I gotta watch this shit. What?
But go back and review that tape. Looks like that person might be blurred out. I don't understand a RCMP uniformed officer wearing a shoulder holster and his face seemingly being obscured. Could be. That's not a shoulder holster. It's 2-point into 1-point rifle sling. Okay, thank you. All right. So then maybe I'm seeing things. Let's see. Why does he go to the back of the vehicle, though? Does he have a rifle? I think I dropped way too much information, and I just assume that people know what I'm talking about or whatever. They're all fake cops. I don't think that. But I do think that there was something very strange going on, and I think this story is very old. There are other pieces, for sure that indicate that. Some of you for sure know some of the connections. I know over in the Discord. Not going to talk about those right now because that would not be beneficial at this point in time. Back of the SUV is where the rifle case would be locked up. Okay. He goes around to the front, though. He doesn't even go into the back. He doesn't go into the... Let's see here. Where is it? Oh, fuck. I skipped ahead here. Sorry. Probably people getting motion sick. I totally understand. There's another officer. It appears as though it's another officer. There's two of them. So he goes around the back side. Then he goes out of frame for a second, but it doesn't look like he... See, he's already running to the front. He's already running to the front. So he didn't get into the back of his vehicle. But he did go around the back side. And I was speaking with my girlfriend about this, and she said, maybe he was speaking to somebody in the back of the vehicle. Which I thought was an interesting point. She was the one who, funnily enough, noticed the blurring right away. She's like, that person's face doesn't appear. And she's not a... Oh, where's the tinfoil? She's not tinfoil at all. She's like, you can't see that person's face. Seems to be obscured. She doesn't necessarily on the license plate, but the face, she's like, you can't see that person's face. What was that? Sorry. Yeah, I thought it was this cop too. But I don't think so because there's no harness. I think you might be right there, Mr. Moneypenny. Aluminum foil, I suppose. Somebody always corrects me on that. Aluminum foil. Yeah, no, I think a lot of this was propaganda perpetrated on people, which is really unfair and sick. And why? The question would be, why? Tinfoil lives matter. I agree, Julie. Yeah, so two country bumpkins blur anyone faces unless the cops were filming the cops in order to protect their undercover cops playing dress up. See? We all have already established. Is that correct? I don't think there's any dispute. What happened down in Enfield was not what happened. The RCMP have already basically said that. One tactical unit. They came out and admitted it finally. Yes, one tactical unit. It was, what was it? The dog handler. Forget his name. Which they knew the whole time. They sent that off to, in the briefing to Prime Minister, right? Macmillan knew it right away. Wrote it right away. It was deleted and changed. Wikipedia actually referred to it for the longest time. It wasn't there. You'd have to go back in the archives to actually look at the article because they didn't update the Wikipedia, but you can go through Wikipedia dates and you can see when it was changed. Because the current Wikipedia doesn't indicate it now. So whatever happened down in Enfield was not what happened. We had Elmsdale times two on both sides of the highway. We had northbound out of Halifax traffic being blocked. And we have older stories that seem to connect to this one, where people also kind of just disappear. And people who are tied to the story all kind of tell that. And they disappear from the story when they come into this one. There's one Lillian's missing. When was that picture done? On the 20th. Not even the 20th, because Lillian was already Lillian, you know, the one that they don't talk about, Lillian. The Lillian that's where's that? Here's another clue. Down 18. It was 22. I guess maybe some people didn't like the video. Is that what happened? Or are they removing likes? It's all just numbers. Fake bullshit. On to road to number 4. I don't know. 31-minute drive. Is it a 31-minute drive? Given the data we know. How quickly did he travel there? Do you guys remember? Two live streams. You should start a Reddit page. Won't be monitored. Everything's monitored. Sadly, but great suggestion. What does it matter? You want to remove likes. You want to have it so that people can't comment. You want to stop the subs or fake the sub count. What difference does that make to me? Do I care? I don't make money. I don't care. If people want to literally buy what happened down in Enfield, right? Then they're also going to buy the fact that, oh yeah, he always just has 2,900 subscribers. It never changes. Nobody watches that. Seems that the RCMP do watch though, and the media, because they always seem to answer questions. It'd be very interesting to watch a log if you were to transcribe everything that's been said along the way and compare it to media and what the RCMP comes out with and when, ITOs, etc. Just saying. One day it will be done. Be a good fundraising thing. I'm actually going to revise this picture because I'm not about, let's see, how do we do this? We'll do this way. Like that. Like that. And we'll save it. And what the fuck happened here? That didn't work. Yeah, that's what I want to show. Like that. That's better. There are TP purchases. Thank you. I appreciate that, Linda. Comments not showing up. Yes, this one is foul. And somebody, like, what are they really doing here with the porn site stuff? I get that all the time. I've noticed it on your videos from time to time. Really? Really? Getting pretty childish here. Doing the porn site stuff? Sad. Susan's lost control. Susan. Replaying garbage all the time. Hunter Road. Lillian. Come out with your hands up. With no Lillian dying. This is a 31-minute drive. Do you know how long it took him to do this? Anybody have any ideas? Anybody know? Last gunshot time? Hunter Road? Close. You're close. You're right in the middle. This was an 18-minute journey. Not very good with my math. As good as I used to be. You know how fast he would have to be traveling? 18 minutes. There you go. 18 minutes. 31 minutes. No. No. There may be stuff to dispute that. Just saying. One day, this is, at the beginning, I proposed that way back when. You take the Twitter, you take the eyewitnesses, take what we know from the media, plot it out on a map. Find the times. We have another thing too, though. The ITOs. The ITOs. So you add that in. You plot it all out in a map. Where is he? When is he? How long is the driving distance between each time? It doesn't work. How many times have they changed clocks and video times and videos? The introduction of the vest. The all-important vest. 16 people. Wow. This one, they got a lot to hide. 23. Let's see where we're at now. I'd love to see that number. I'm really hopeful that I'm going to see that number go up. Oh, wow. Somebody approved my fat picture. I appreciate that. Thank you. Please. I'm sure they're playing with the numbers over here too. Oh, that's not the way I want to do it. Show your support for these families. They need you. We all need you. I need you. Tara needs you. All the families need you. $52. This is progress. I want to see this number go up to a few hundred. You can do it, Nova Scotia. For one day. It only comes once a year. Not once a year, sorry. This is the 1 year. It only comes once a lifetime. And there is going to be a very concerted effort, and has been, to drown out anyone looking for the truth. I know it. You all know it. It's just truth. This isn't a difficult one. And these families need it. How do you grieve something that you've got so many questions about? How can you let go? It's like for people who aren't living that, it would be similar to knowing the unknowing of a suicide. Why? I don't understand. And that peace inside of you. So many people can relate to that one. You've had a friend or a family member who has tragically killed themselves, and you don't understand why. And that gnaws at you. Now take that and put it on crack. Take that and put all the trauma from all the lying that continually goes on. To all of you family members that are in here, and you're in here, and I know you are. And you know my heart and my prayers are with you all the time. I want to see this number go up. It will go up because I have faith in you and I believe in you. We are a team, and we will work together, and we will not be drowned out. No bans, no anything. Questions, answers. That's what's going to do it. It's tragic. It's tragic. And I reached out to a family member today, and they didn't answer me. That's very unlike them. I hope that they're okay. They're in my thoughts and prayers. There's a lot of hard days. some days for these people. Not a Facebook participant. Foodland. 1 p.m. Bible Hill. Be there. I don't necessarily believe this number, but I still want to see it keep going. We can do it. We've been doing it. All of us. Together. Pretty amazing. Oh. 1 year. How many hours, days, months have people been working at this? How many people trying to just get the most very basic thing that we all ask for in our lives? Truth, morality. This is not a difficult one. This is very basic. And if you're doing silly bonkers, then best just come clean with it and say, well, we're going to stop doing that. And here's how. And we are really serious this time. We're not going to, take recommendations that we're going to get, because that one's going to come. There'll be lots of recommendations, as there always is. Just put in RCMP and recommendations in Google search. Oh, I'm going to get hit with a lot. How many do they abide by? Yeah. Rather steal their own members' money. Rather trash anybody who speaks out against it. The great members that do. Destroy their lives. That isn't the way I want my employees behaving. I don't want my employees treating other people like shit. 23. Or all of us. Won't stop digging, RCMP. We won't stop. Please subscribe to the people below who are really helping out. Please go and give O'Dear's stuff a view. Try out, Steve and other people's channels. Support them. If you agree with them. This one's not a political one. I try and keep this apolitical. Let's not get politics in here too much, because there isn't anything there's no political thing here. I mean, aside from the Jenga, right? They're afraid, and they have every right to be. People do things that are wrong, and they're not responsible. They're not adult. They hide in fear. They cower. They fake things. They lie. They bullshit. And then people grow up. They become adults. Put away childish things. Now, some of the stuff I've said here can be easily explainable, I'm sure, and can be wrong. I try to preface it with that. But some of the things I think I'm saying here, and trying to connect some of these dots, because there are more dots. There are more dots. I'm just wanting people to get in that mindset. The dots connect. Or how deep the girlfriend's family involved in other criminal activities. a good question. Questions. Answers. Give them. Now it is 1 o'clock down there, past everybody's bedtime. God bless you all. Thank you ever so much to everybody. And any of you who have tips, knowledge, want to do the right thing. The right thing that's been gnawing at you and keeping you awake at night, and you can do it. And you're going to have lots of people behind you supporting you. We will change this. We are changing it. Tips down below. There's a link. And we'll support you. God bless the 23. God bless the families.